PurplexedQT here. I know it's like, what, three videos in one day? I think that's a record for me. So why am I doing this video? Well, honestly, this video is like long overdue. But with everything that's gone on with Lady A, Crazy Granny actually inspired this video. I know it's like Crazy Nurse Granny, but you guys know who I'm talking about. And she kind of inspired this video. And the reason being is she really made me take a step back and think to myself, why do I hate Miss Fake Mensa so much? Like, what is it about her that I have such passion for and such hatred for? Like, to the point you would think like she was my ex-husband or something. And I've never met her. Shit, I've never even seen her or what she looks like the real her. You know, the 60-year-old her that she is, not the 30-year-old picture she puts up. And, you know, but I don't know what drove this hatred. Well, I did, but, like, I didn't know why every time I heard her name or saw something or heard a condescending tone, it drove me fucking insane. And I figured it out. And I figured it out thanks to Crazy Granny. So Crazy Granny had done a video about Lady A and, you know, how you can't really help somebody with a mental illness. And almost like, you know, you can't blame them. So her video really touched me. It honestly did. And I know everyone was thinking about it for Lady A, but I was thinking about it for Miss Fake Mensa. So, you know, like, what about her just twists me that much? And I realized it was the victim shaming from day one. You know, this goes way back to like my last video when, you know, she would make shit up. And she would make shit up about Shannon Watts. Now, it's one thing to have an opinion on something. Opinions are based on facts. And then you form an opinion based on the fact. For example, oh my God, now I can't think of one. But, you know, Nicole liked it up the butt. So that's why Chris did it. That's why Chris killed Shannon, because Nicole liked it up the ass. Okay, we know that Chris killed Shannon, and we know that Nicole liked it up the butt. So an opinion would be, I think that he killed Shannon because he liked it up the ass with Nicole. That's an opinion. A fabrication is the baby wasn't Chris's, based on absolutely nothing. Nothing. Not even an autopsy report. Yes, I just burped. Not even an autopsy report said anything that Nico wasn't his, that she cheated on him. These are complete fabrications and total victim blaming. So I don't want to spend too much time giving her any credit for this because it's absolutely disgusting. And I can't control what other people do. I can only control my reactions to those things. So that's why I'm making this video. So instead of bashing her the way she bashes Shannon, I decided to do an intelligent video based on facts. So I pulled some information of why victim blaming is so wrong. And, you know, one of the things that it sprouts is, speaking of mental illness, that most people that blame victims secure themselves by blaming the victim. And I know you're probably thinking, how does that even make sense? But it does. And those are actually statistical, because by blaming victims, then by blaming victims, it allows you to create your own world and have control over your world. So statistically proven, those that blame victims or, you know, talk shit about victims or anything like that is because that they have no control over their life, and it makes them feel that the world is just. Now, they say a lot of victim blamers were victim themselves, and they never want to go back to that particular place. That makes sense too, kind of. I guess it depends what kind of victim you are, that could work. I was never a domestic violence victim. Technically, I was never beaten. I was never hit. Nothing like that. My abuse was more psychological and financial, that he withheld. He was completely psychologically abusive. But as you guys know, I'm a pretty strong person, so we had some pretty bad fights. But it never really did get physical, and I think I hit him, so he hit me back. Stupid shit like that, but it wasn't like a real victim. I didn't really worry about him killing me. I thought at one point I was going to kill my son just to get back at me, but it was more, he was more psychological. He's even psychological with our son, but I can't do anything about it. I can only protect my son as best as I can. Like, instead of blaming victims, we need and we should be focusing on, like, how do we support? How can we support the family? How can we support Shanann? How can we give memory to Shanann and the girls? But the girls were just even worse victims. So I'm going to run a slideshow that I put together that's really directed at the problems of victim blaming and who is a victim and who's not a victim. Another thing that really bothers me is that, 1 in 3 women worldwide are subject to violence and subject to domestic violence. And what happens is, instead of women supporting other women, women are shamed, and then they're victim blamed. And, it goes back to like walking down the street in a short skirt and you got raped and you were drunk. So does that mean that you deserved it? Or you're on a date and you're flirting with somebody and you're not ready to sleep with them, but they're ready to sleep with you, and they bring you upstairs and you're making out and stuff, and boom, they rape you. You don't tell anybody because you're afraid. Let's say it's the captain of the football team. Let's say it's the jock. Let's say it's the, rock star, whoever. You don't tell. And you don't tell because you're afraid of being victim shamed by someone like Miss Fake Menstrual. And as a society, we need to change this. As a society, it's absolutely disgusting how many people, how many women, like, I saw it from some men, but a majority of Chris Watts groups are women or fake men trolls. But literally the real people are women. And it was mind-blowing to me as a female to see so many females bashing another female. Like, what did you get out of it? Like, did it make you feel good? It reminds me of, like, someone picking on someone that's, ugly or shorter than them or handicapped. Like, does it make you feel good to pick on someone else? Like, does that get you off, And Shanann was beautiful. She was. Whether she was heavy or whether she was thin, she was a stunning girl. I mean, she had 2 kids. She did the best that she could. Every mom gets frustrated. Every mom gets a little uptight. Every mom this. I hate to say it like this, but I know you guys can relate. Like, Molly Golightly says how she lost, X amount of weight. She lost like 100 pounds and she had this done and that done. And it makes her feel good like this, blah, blah, blah. And that's why, she shows off her stomach and everything else. And that's okay. Shanann was no different. Shanann, she was constantly in front of the camera. Maybe she wanted that attention because she'd never been thin. Maybe she's never been thin in her whole life. And that's why she is the way she is. That gives you no right to judge her because she's in front of a camera a lot. She was earning a living. Were you jealous of what she looked like? Were you jealous so you try to bash her? Like, are you that pathetic in your life? I mean, seriously. And I'm basing this on anybody that right now is still bashing Shanann or still coming up with these ridiculous theories. So it's not just Miss Menstrual Cramp that I'm putting this towards. Anybody that is still coming up with lying theories about a woman who was murdered by somebody she loved by the father of her kids. Not only did he kill her, but she trusted him with her children, the ones that came out of her, the ones that she bore, and he fucking killed them with no disregard for anybody, no disregard for the grandparents, no disregard for his parents, no disregard for her parents. And yet you sit there and you make video after video after video blaming her. You are disgusting. But I don't want to, I'm going to calm down. Deep breaths. Okay, deep breath. Before I get upset. So, women are shamed, degraded, and treated poorly for a situation that is completely out of their control. There was nothing that she could have done that would have changed the outcome. It doesn't matter how controlling you think she was. In the end, look who had all the control. It doesn't matter who she was as a person. That was the father of her children. He murdered her. Murdered. He took away her parents' daughter, her parents' only daughter. She didn't deserve it. And I know a lot of people say, well, we know she didn't deserve to be murdered, but no, there is no but. He took away somebody's life. And then that wasn't good enough for him. So then he took away her children's life. Where do you feel the need to blame her? Why do you feel the need to make up stories about her? This is where my frustration comes from. And this is where I get so fucking aggravated and so upset. I mean, I was literally looking, I can't even look at my screen because these pictures bring tears to my eyes. I literally had tears redoing them. And I don't even want to look down because I'm going to cry. And the tears are flowing. Because as a mom, I can't even imagine losing one of my children, let alone to somebody that I trusted and the father of my grandchildren. There's no other worse thing than losing a child. There is. Losing your child and your grandchildren all in the same time. They're your only grandchildren. That is by far the worst thing that could ever happen. Ever. Let me wipe these tears. I can't even believe I'm crying. So, to hear, for a parent and a family to have to go through, to see videos on the internet, bashing an innocent victim, creating stories of an innocent victim is just so wrong on so many levels. And I understand that you have a mental illness. And I understand that it's somewhere in you, it makes you feel good to bash a victim. But it shouldn't. And you need help. Like you need psychological help if you think that that's okay. I don't need to know Shannon, or her family to know that she's a victim. I don't need to know Stephen Avery to know he's a victim. I don't need to know Kaylee Anthony to know she's a victim. I don't need to know Nicole and Ron to know that they're victims. I don't need to know these people personally. They were killed. They were murdered. It doesn't matter if you want to believe who killed who or who killed them. The bottom line is they were murdered. That makes them victims. That puts them on a pedestal. And the only murderers that don't go on a pedestal are the eye for an eye. So when Jeffrey Dahmer got killed, I didn't shed a fucking tear. Ted Bundy gets electrocuted, I didn't shed a tear. You know why? Because there's no reason to. They deserved it. Because they took somebody else's life. If somebody doesn't hurt somebody else, Shanann never hurt anybody. Shanann never killed anybody. Shanann never did anything to warrant her children being thrown in fucking oil tanks. The grandparents, both sides, both sets of grandparents, never did anything to warrant their grandchildren, their only grandchildren, being fucking thrown away like garbage in oil tanks. To the point that you couldn't even have an open casket because their skin was falling off, knowing that their granddaughter fought for her life. This was Shannon's kids. Anybody that doesn't see that is a despicable, disgusting human being. That's where my heartache and my frustration come from Miss Fake Mensa. It's absolutely mind-blowing to me how anyone who claims to be smart. I mean, her ways, her attitude, everything is the sole reason why I know she's not in Mensa. Why I know she's not even fucking intelligent. Because she just makes things up. And she can't even fight her own battles. But that's a whole nother story. Her mental illness makes her think she's so smart. And she needs help. She, like, seriously needs help. And I sat back, many times wondering, like, why place the blame on a woman? Like, why do we shun the idea that she's just a victim? And whatever happened when she was alive, as long as she didn't hurt anybody else, still makes her a victim. I mean, when you think of a robbery, someone, robbing somewhere, do you sit back and think, you know what? They kind of deserved it because they had money on them? Of course not. So even if she was controlling, it doesn't matter. You don't pick her apart. She's still, no matter what, she is the mother of those two girls that got thrown away like trash. That alone earns her respect. That alone puts her on a pedestal. Then, you add in the fact she was fucking murdered. That makes it even worse. It's like, for some reason, there's this powerful urge for people to want to think like good things happen to good people and bad things happen to bad people. And it's just so not true. Like, and that's the mentality of victim bashing. And it's honestly just not true. Now, according to psychological studies, psychological research, it's been suggested that the idea of a victim threatens the sense of security people have implemented in their brains. So they fear the situation, so they couldn't possibly believe that it could happen to them. As a result, victim blame to cope. The realization needs to be reached that victims are living this nightmare that is feared on top of trauma. These are talking about the ones that survived. They have to deal with a community of their, own peers and women possibly bashing them. She was drunk on the street. She was this, she was that. So because of this, I became like this, what do you want to call it? Like Shannon, like rah-rah, cheerleader. I don't ever care if I meet the family. I don't ever care if I speak to Frankie. I'm not fucking Molly. I don't need to play games or get views because Frankie called me. Because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, if I reach out to them. Would I love to do an interview with them? Of course I would. But, it's that face right there that I can't handle looking at. Because I think of my own self. And I think of myself as a parent. Rumor said he wasn't the greatest parent. Who fucking cares? She married a seemingly wonderful man. Seemingly. So, for all the, I guess the dichotomy that I find, like, kind of sad is that the same people that put Chris on a pedestal or put Chris above somewhere else are the same people bashing the parents, saying, this parent sucks, or this parent, our brother's a dick, or, a father's wasn't in her life, or whatever the situation. But it's truly ironic because Shannon picked a seemingly wonderful man, and one that you guys all think is wonderful. So in actuality, her parents did a wonderful job. And her dad not being around, she still picked a wonderful man, according to you guys. You can't have it both ways. It's one or the other. She's either a controlling bitch who, has this horrible family, so she picks a man like her dad, whatever. Or she has this, wonderful family, and she seemingly meets a wonderful man who turned out to be a fucking psychopath. But you can't have it both ways. It's one or the other. Instead of victim bashing, we need to come together. We need to stand together as women. So if it happens to your family member, everyone's there for you. If it happens to someone you can say the right words. I don't care if my friend was drunk and wearing a bikini. She still didn't deserve to get raped. She didn't deserve to get gang raped in a pool because she was in a bikini and wasted. And no, this didn't happen to one of my friends. So, but I'm just giving an example. I'm thinking about movies and stuff. But, just because people do that doesn't give you the right to exploit somebody. It doesn't give you a right because you didn't like the way she acted on camera because you didn't know her. To me, I thought she seemed like an awesome mom. I thought she seemed like a beautiful person who was excited about losing all this weight. And she just wanted to share it with the world. And she wasn't getting the attention she wanted at home. She wasn't getting the love from Chris. She wasn't getting the attention from Chris. All she was a mom. And she was, crazy with her crazy kids and crazy life. And, and she was in over her head and she was in debt. And when she turned on that camera and she was getting the love and affection and friendship that she needed from people, that's who she was. That's who I saw. Maybe I look for the good in people, or at least people that have good in them, and I look for that good. It doesn't matter to me if you're controlling. It doesn't matter to me if you have money or if you're broke. It doesn't matter to me if you're pretty, ugly, fat, skinny, handicapped, not handicapped, transgender. It doesn't matter. If you are a good person to you, that means that you're a good person to everybody else. And, a realness of somebody, like a lot of people say I'm real, which I am. I told Pink she was real. You can't fake that. You can't, because there's different situations that people have that, come across, or they'll say something to you. You just can't fake it. It comes from in here. So the ugly people of the world doesn't mean that you look ugly. It doesn't mean that, you're a vile person because you curse, because fuck, I curse up a storm. And I'm okay with it because I know when I look in a mirror every day, I know that I'm a beautiful person on the inside. Yeah, there's a lot of things I would change on the outside, like a lot. But on the inside, I'm a great person. I would never hurt anybody. I am real. I am me. I am... I would never bully somebody that didn't deserve it. And yes, I use that strongly. Deserve it, meaning they hurt my friend or family. They put down my friends or family without even knowing them. They hurt my child. Situations like that. That's what I mean by deserve it. Someone wants to call me CUNT, ugly, fat, ugly, Miss Buck Teeth, bad accent, bad voice. Ask me if I care, because I don't. Things like that are meaningless. But, people know me. I am as real as can be. I will fight my own battles. I don't need anybody to do it for me. I will confront anybody face to face or online, in a bar, in wherever. But I also like to try and speak to people, and get through to them first. Like, make them see the error of their ways. Now, do I snap initially? Absolutely. I totally snap. And then I calm down, and 5 minutes later, I'm over it. But this one particular Miss Fake Menstrual Cycle, really pushes me. And I just want her to get the help that she needs. I really, truly do. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. I'll even help her if needed. And I'm not saying this to be a dick. Like, I really mean that. She needs help. She needs help with, like, join a woman's group. join, before you even try the psychological help, like join a woman's group. Understand what it means to be a woman. Understand what it means to stand by a woman, even a woman you don't know. You know, there are people in these groups that I don't know them. I've never met them. Same thing with Making a Murderer. I've never met them. But you know what? I have their back if they need it, because I know that they're a real person. And I know that, you know, they may have some weaknesses that might be my strengths. And you know what? I know they have my back as well. And, you know, you need to form a bond with other women. You need to especially it's, what are you, 58 or 60? You need to like really understand what it means to be a woman and how to stand proud as a woman. And as a woman, we can't stand proud if women are turning on women. And that goes for everybody, you know, like if you're going to victim bash, you can't victim bash and then expect somebody to stand up for you, because nobody's going to stand up for you. You know, Chris Watts is not a victim. O.J. Simpson is not a victim. Casey Anthony is not a victim. So many people make them Jodi Arias is not a victim. The victims are their victims, the ones whose lives they took. That's who's a victim. It's almost gotten to the point where as a society, it's like we're afraid to say the word victim. And I'm guilty of that. I am guilty of that. Before I realized I was a victim, it took years. And it didn't, you know, it took like for court to start up and for me to really honestly say to myself, you know what? I am a fucking victim of a psychopath. I didn't realize it for many, many years, especially with my strong personality. But when I realized it, it was like this huge release of like, wow. But in our society, it's like there is none. Like, men are abusive, they're chasing around women, and women are scared to speak up. So women need to speak up for women. And this is not a feminist movement. I'm not trying to be a feminist because I don't even believe in most feminist ways. But just as a woman, stop victim bashing. It doesn't say, when you're victim bashing or making up theories about Shannon, it doesn't say anything about Shannon. It says a lot about you. And it's not good. So that's what I wanted to say. I wanted to get this out. I didn't even know it was going to go, 30 minutes. So I really hope you get this message. Anybody that's still making videos, like even Molly stopped making videos. For whatever her reason, she still stopped making them. So I just want to get it out there once and for all. And again, I owe Crazy Nanny this video because she really got me thinking. So I'm going to try very hard not to get upset anymore. I'm just going to, try to be positive as a woman, put out positive vibes to another woman, and hopefully she'll grab onto those positive vibes and realize that life is too short to bash innocent victims. Okay? So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Some plug here. Wednesday night, we have Bobby Brown coming back to discuss, with Vicky, to discuss Mindy Lee. I'm convinced it was a murder, and I have very good proof of why it's a murder. If you're not familiar with Bobby Brown, look him up. Bobby Brown bail bonds. He was an investigator with John Benet Ramsey. He learned everything he knew from Lou Smith. He was, for 14 years, he was an investigator in Colorado. He knows all these cases very, very well. He also works on TV with Dog the Bounty Hunter. So he's going to be here Wednesday night at 8 o'clock. Or 8 o'clock Central Time, 7 o'clock Colorado time. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And again, my name is PURPLEXEDQT. Always, always, always be you, be real, and be awesome. Don't forget to sign up for Patreon and come to the Kelsey Room, Kelsey Breath Room. I also have news coming up for that. That I may reveal tomorrow, or I may save it for Wednesday with Bobby. And still got Making a Murder Uncensored. And I do apologize about this afternoon that, KZ canceled and didn't tell anyone she canceled. She just never showed up. So with that said, Don't forget to subscribe, watch my other videos, and I hope you guys have a fantastic night. And I really, really hope I got this message across the way I wanted to get it across, because it really means so much, especially in a room with so many women, that I think it's important for everybody to support each other. All right? So have a wonderful night, guys, and that's it. Have a great night. Peace out. Whoop. Maybe not yet. I'm trying to do something fancy and it messed up. All right, so peace out. Whoop. Uh-oh.